ඔබත් SLT පාරිභෝගිකයෙකු නම් ඔබේ හිතවතෙකුට SLT නව සබඳතාවයක් 50%ක වටනමක් සහිතව ලබා දී ඔබේ බිල්පතට රුපියල් 6000ක් දක්වා වටනමක් හිමි කරගන්න.
Your headlines tonight. New Leaf, the birth of Jesus Christ celebrated as Sri Lanka attempts to rise from the ashes of Easter Sunday attacks. Safety assurance. The President and the Prime Minister also reflect on the Easter attacks, calling on the people to practice their faith without fear. Is Mahavansa a work of fiction? Vigneswaran's unrelenting pursuit of federalism continues as the former Northern Chief Minister labels the Mahavansa a work of fiction. Rewriting history. Previous government accused of attempting to alter Sri Lanka's history via school textbooks. All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Wednesday, the 25th of December 2019.
මේ සීන් එකෙන් කට් වෙන්න ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
Hi.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Wishing all our viewers a Merry Christmas, joy, happiness and peace. We begin our broadcast tonight. Sri Lanka's Christians and Catholics celebrated the first Christmas following Easter Sunday attacks at midnight last night. Held under heavy security, Christmas services all over the island commenced just before midnight following Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit's message calling on Catholics to commemorate the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks with solemn celebrations this time around. In his sermon delivered at St. Sebastian's Shrine in Katuapitiya last night, a visibly emotional cardinal called on his flock to refrain from succumbing to hate against the perpetrators of the attacks, reminding them that attacks such as these serve to allow patience, mercy and faith to enter their lives.
An estimated 1.3 billion Christians the world over welcomed the dawning of Christmas at midnight last night, celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. According to Christian belief, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, was born among men on Christmas Day, sent to save humanity from its sins. Therefore, to the many followers of his faith, his birth signifies renewal, peace, love, and forgiveness. Midnight Mass was celebrated at many Catholic shrines across the country, with the most significant being the services held at St. Sebastian's Shrine in Katuapitiya, the site that bore the brunt of the April terror attacks. At Katuapitiya, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, celebrated Midnight Mass with the congregation, who are still in stages of slow recovery from the carnage visited upon them during the faith's most important religious celebration, Easter Sunday, the day celebrating the resurrection of Christ. His Eminence the Cardinal delivered an emotional sermon calling on extremists to cast off their hateful ways, while also reminding his flock to stick with the teachings of Christ and use forgiveness as a tool to combat the scourge.
කටුවපිටියේ ඔබ ඒ මෙලේච්ච මිනිස් ඝාතනය ඉවසා දරාගත්තා. ජීවිතය ගැන අලුතින් හිතන්නට අපිව යොමු කරනවා මේ වගේ දේවල්. ඉවසීම, දයාව, කරුණාව කියන උතුම් ගුණාංග අපේ ජීවිතයට ලං කරලා දෙනවා. අපි කවදාක්වත් මේ මෙලේච්ච ක්‍රියාව සිදු කරපු අයට වෛර කරන්නේ නැහැ. දෙවියන් වහන්සේට ආදරය කරන්න මිනි මරන්න බෑ. ඒ අය දෙවියන් වහන්සේ පලිගැනීමේ දුෂ්ට ක්‍රූර දෙවි කෙනෙක් හැටියටයි සලකන්නේ ඔය විදියට කටයුතු කරලා. ඒ ගැන අපි අනුකම්පා වෙනවා. මම ඔබට ආදරේ. ඔබ මගේ දරුවෝ. ඔබ මගේ ජනතාව ඔබ බියවිය යුතු නැහැ. ඔබත් සමග මම සිටිනවා. තවත් මිනිස්සෙකුගේ ජීවිතයට දුක වේදනාව දෙන්නට මොන දෙවියන් වහන්සේද අපිට කියන්නේ? මොන පොතේද ඒක ලියලා තියෙන්නේ? එහෙම කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම ලියලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒක ආගමක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක දේශපාලන පැවැත්මක් පමණයි. අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ කාරණාව පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්න අයට කියන්න කැමති කරුණා කරලා ඔක ඔතනින් නවත්තන්න. ඔය අන්තවාදයට ඔබගේ ජීවිතය තුල ඉඩ දෙන්න එපා.
The cardinal then served Holy Communion to some injured survivors of the attack among the congregation and comforted them at the end of the Holy Mass. Meanwhile, Midnight Mass was also celebrated at St. Anthony's Church in Kochikade and the Zion Church in Batiklo, which were also subjected to the terrorists' suicide blasts.
ජෙල් සීන් ඇක්ෂන් ඇන්ටිජර් මවුත්වොෂ් සමගින් එන ක්ලෝස් අප් ජෙල් එක ස්ටෝරි එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න.
As the world celebrates Christmas, Sri Lanka, however, is struggling to rise from the ashes of Easter Sunday attacks, with over 250 people perishing in the heinous series of attacks. The loved ones they left behind are still trying to come to terms of what happened and, most importantly, how to move forward. This is their story.
The 21st of April marked the day in the history of Sri Lanka that will never be forgotten. As the peaceful and most important religious festival, the unsuspecting Christian community left their homes to celebrate Mass on Easter Sunday with zealous and peaceful hearts and minds, only to forever lose their peace. The terror attack that claimed the most lives happened at the St. Sebastian's Church in Katopiti in Negombo. On this fateful day, people from 75 families lost their lives, while some are forever disabled and scarred permanently. These are just a few of the survivors who are attempting to get through their first Christmas since the horrendous attack.
අප්‍රේල් 21 වෙනි දින පල්ලියට ගිහිල්ලා පූජාව අහගෙන ඉන්න අතරේදී එකපාරට ශබ්දයක් ඇහුණා. ඇහුණ සමගම පවුලයි ළමයි දෙන්නම එකට බිමට වැටුණා. මම ડોක්ටර්ගෙන් ඇහුවා මේක ඉස්පිතාලේදී පණ තියෙනවද මොකද කියලා. නෑ කිව්වා. අපි තුන්දෙනා හිටියේ බොහොම එකමුතුකමින් තමයි අපි ජීවිතේ ගත කරේ. මට නම් ඒක කොටින්ම දරාගෙන ඉන්න බෑ. මම මැරිච්ච දා ඉඳන් මම හැමදාම අඬන තමයි මේ හැමදාම ජීවිතේ ගත කරන්නේ. එක වෙලාවට හිතෙනවා මැරෙන්න තරම් හිතෙනවා. ඒක දෙන්නව දකිද්දි
21 වෙනිදා අපි 4 දහම් පල්ලි ගියා. ඒලා මගේ බිරිඳ අමාලි. එයාට ඇවිල්ලා බෝම්බේ පිපුරන වෙලාව ඇවිල්ලා කෑල්ලක් කියලා පපුවට වැදුණා. එහෙන් පිටින් මෙතනම මගේ බිරිඳ ඒලා වැටුණා. මේගොල්ලෝ අම්මාව ඉල්ල අඬන්න ගත්තා. කෑ ගහලා අඬනවා. තාත්තේ අම්මකෝ කියලා අඬනවා මේගොල්ලෝ. මට දෙන්න උත්තර නැහැ කියන්න දේවල් නැහැ මට. ගිය පාර මමයි වයිෆුයි තමයි එකතු වෙලා අර එළියේ නත්තල් ගහක් ඇදුවා එළියේ. දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ අහන තාත්තකෝ අපිට නත්තල් ගහ මේ පාර හදන්න නැද්ද කියලා. මගේ දරුවන්ට මට කියන්න දේවල් නැහැ ඒකට. ගොඩාක් දුකයි වේදනාව වැඩි. කියාගන්න බෑ හිතේ තියෙන දුක වේදනාව.
තාත්තා කිව්වා අම්මා රට ගිය නිසා නත්තල සමරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. එන අවුරුද්දේ නත්තල සමරනවා කිව්වා. අපිට අඳන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ. මුගියර දෙන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ. අම්මා රට ගියා. අම්මා නැතුව කුක්කු බොන්න නෑ.
කටුවපිටිය අප්‍රේල් 21 වෙනිදා පල්ලි ගිහිල්ලා තමයි මේ දේ වුනේ. හැම අවුරුද්දකම මම පල්ලි ගියේ බිරිඳත් එක්ක. ඊට පස්සේ බිරිඳත් එක්ක ගිහලා ඊට පස්සේ දරුවොත් එක්ක තමයි හැම අවුරුද්දම නත්තල්ට පල්ලි ගියේ. දාපාර පල්ලි යන්න මගේ බිරිඳ දරුවෝ නැහැ. මට නත්තල් නැහැ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි මම මේ කනත්තට ඇවිල්ලා ඊටිපන්දම් පත්තු කරලා ජේසු බබාගේ පින්තූරේ ගෙනත් තියලා දරුවෝ වයිෆ් බලලා යන්න කනත්තට ආවේ.
As the world celebrated the dawn of Christmas, Midnight Mass was held at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, where Pope Francis called on the faithful to not let the failings of the Church keep away from God. Delivering his annual Christmas message, the pontiff served to dispel the belief in eternal punishment for individual wrongdoings and instead opened up the faith to a more rational approach which could change the Church's image and make it more appealing.
Catholics around the world welcome the dawning of Christmas with Midnight Mass. Pope Francis presided over midnight mass at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome last night, where his customary Christmas message called on the Catholic faithful to not let the Church's failings lead them away from God.
Natale ci ricorda che Dio continua ad amare ogni uomo.
Christmas reminds us that God continues to love us all, even the worst of us. To me, to you, to each of us, He says today, I love you and I will always love you, for you are precious in my eyes. God does not love you because you think and act the right way. He loves you, plain and simple. His love is unconditional. It does not depend on you. You may have mistaken ideas. You may have made a complete mess of things, but the Lord continues to love you. How often do you think that God is good if we are good and punishes us if we are bad? Yet, that is not how He is.
E che ci castiga se noi siamo cattivi. Non è così.
Meanwhile, in what is considered one of Christianity's holiest shrines, the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christ, midnight mass was held under the patronage of acting Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Pier Battista Pizzaballa. The mass in the West Bank town attracted hundreds of tourists from around the world, joining Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Prime Minister Mohammad Shtayyeh, who traditionally attend the service each year. Archbishop of New York Timothy Cardinal Dolan hosted Christmas midnight mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. The cathedral is one of the city's most historic churches and serves as the mother church of the Archdiocese of New York. Tickets distributed by a lottery were required for the much-anticipated event, which featured a live choir and music from the church's organs, which have a combined total of more than 9,000 pipes. Hundreds of Catholic followers attended a Christmas Eve Mass in Beijing on Tuesday. China is home to 12 million Catholics, a tiny minority mainly living around the main urban cities. For Chinese Catholics, Christmas has come to mean getting together with friends, giving presents, and hosting big dinners. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, hundreds of worshippers belonging to the tiny Christian community in Karachi attended midnight mass on Christmas Eve on Tuesday night amidst tight security. Security has been tight across the country during the Christmas period, with hundreds of policemen deployed around churches. There were no specific security threats, but churches and Christians have been attacked in the past years in Pakistan.
Meanwhile, with Sri Lanka's Christians celebrating the first Christmas following the Easter terror attacks, the traditional celebratory messages from the President and the Prime Minister both reflected on the incident and called on the public to freely practice their faith in the current environment of safety, minus fear or suspicion.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa issued his maiden Christmas message following his election, saying at present there's an environment in the country where citizens can celebrate Christmas without fearful thoughts and suspicion. He also called on the public to dedicate themselves to creating a better society where all human beings will be treated equally, the way Jesus Christ taught the world. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also issued a Christmas message assuring the government's commitment to dispelling the darkness of religious terrorism and restoring security and peace in the country. He also urged the Christian community to freely exercise their freedom of worship without allowing extremist forces to succeed in their efforts to suppress their freedoms.
Moving on to other local news tonight, the Criminal Investigations Department is still unable to locate former Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne after a warrant was issued for his arrest yesterday. The police checked out 2 known residences of the UNP MP, only to be disappointed. Now, the warrant was issued pertaining to the controversial White Van media briefing, where 2 individuals accompanying the former minister claimed to have played a part in a slew of crimes under the government of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, including abductions and murder.
Former Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne took centre stage during the time of the presidential election when he convened a media briefing with 2 other individuals on the existence and crimes perpetrated with the use of white vans. The 2 individuals who accompanied the former minister at the time claimed to be responsible for playing their part in white van kidnappings. However, after investigations revealed that they had been influenced by the ex-minister to take the fall, the Colombo Magistrates Court issued an overseas travel ban on the former minister upon the request made by the Criminal Investigation Department. Meanwhile, an arrest warrant was issued by the Colombo Additional Magistrate yesterday, taking into consideration the submissions made by Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Papiris. The CID, however, attempted to arrest the ex-minister at his residence in Colombo, but he wasn't there. Afterwards, the CID left for another one of the ex-minister's residences in Beruala, only to be frustrated as the parliamentarian wasn't there either. They, however, recorded statements from persons who were present at the residence. With an arrest warrant issued and the former minister nowhere to be found, a few parties had their say on the matter.
එතුමා අධිකරණය මග අරින්නේ එතුමා නිසි වෙලාවට අධිකරණයට ඉදිරිපත් වෙයි කියලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපි කවුරුවත් අධිකරණයට ගරු කරනවා. අපි දැක්ක ඔබතුමා ඊයේ රාජ්‍ය සේනාවත් නැතිතුමා සියලුම බලන්න ඔබතුමා ගියා කියලා. එතුමා මේ මග අරින්න එතුමාට 30 වෙනිදා වෙනකන් අවස්ථාව තිබුණා. උසාවියට අනුවම. ඉතින් එතුමා ඒ නිසි ආකාරයට වරන්තුවක් වුන් පමණින් මේ කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. කිසිම දේශපාලන පරිගැනීමක් නැහැ. වැරද්ද කවුරු කළත් මම කළත් ඔබ කළත් කවුරු කළත් එක රටක් එක නීතියක් යටතේ තමයි ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ. කාටවත් විශේෂ වරප්‍රසාද වරදාන නැහැ.
මේවෙන් රාජ්‍යනායකතුමා බය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මේ හදන්නේ බිය ගන්නවලා රවටීමෙන් රට පාලනය කරනවා. මේක මේ චම්පිකට රාජ්‍යතර විරුද්ධව කරන පෞද්ගලික ක්‍රියාවලියක් නෙමෙයි. මේක මේ මුළු රටම පුරවැසියන්ව දේශපාලනඥයන් බිය ගැන්වීම සඳහා කරන ක්‍රියාවලියක්.
සාමාන්‍ය මිනිසුන්ට නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන විදියටම තමයි දේශපාලඥයන් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. තනතුරු කොහේ තිබුණත් එයාට නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ. ඒකද ආණ්ඩුවේද විරුද්ධ පක්ෂද කියන එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් බවට පත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
A suspect was arrested in connection with the attack on a soldier on sentry duty at the Bogan Talab or the Bogasweva army camp in Vaunia this morning. An unidentified assailant caused injuries to a soldier returning from duty in the area of Bogasweva in Vaunia. Bogasweva Police Military Intelligence Corps and Sri Lanka Corps of Military Police apprehended the assailant, who is an army deserter, in less than 6 hours. The army said that they also recovered the soldier's weapon from a wayside location near Kakirawa this morning. While the soldier was returning to his guard this morning around 4 a.m. after sentry duty in the area of Bogasweva, an unidentified assailant inflicted injuries on the soldier and fled with his weapon. The injured soldier is receiving medical treatment at the Anuradhapura Victoria Military Hospital. A senior leader of India's Bharatiya Janata Party, L. Ganesan, says that Sri Lankan Tamils in Tamil Nadu did not want Indian citizenship and wanted to go back to Sri Lanka. The comments come at a time when India has introduced a controversial Citizenship Amendment Act which seeks to amend the definition of illegal immigrant for Hindu, Sikh, Parsi, Buddhist and Christian immigrants from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh who have lived in India without documentation. Sri Lankans living in India, albeit without documentation, do not make the cut. Bharatiya Janata Party leader L. Ganesan has told media yesterday that the best solution on the issue of Sri Lankan Tamils in Tamil Nadu would be a return to the motherland, as their votes in the island nation matter very much for the welfare of the Tamils here. He, however, added that they would not be forced to go back, but this is not the case with the minorities of Pakistan, Afghanistan and of Bangladesh. As things stand, nearly 100,000 Sri Lankans living in India as refugees are not eligible for Indian citizenship under the new law. And we'll be back with business news and other local news after this short commercial break. Welcome back, taking you to business news. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has given instructions to relevant authorities to adopt a scientific approach when purchasing paddy during the next season. The directive came when the Cost of Living Subcommittee met for the first time under President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday. During the meeting, it was also decided to intensify the crackdown on rice sales at inflated prices.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Cost of Living convened for the first time under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday at the President's office. The discussion with the President was joined by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, President Secretary Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, group of government ministers and government officials. Special attention was drawn on providing food items to the general public without a scarcity on a concessionary price in the upcoming festive season. As per the presidential media, the President has also advised the officials to follow a scientific method in purchasing the harvest from farmers in the next paddy season in order to solve problems which arise in purchasing. Furthermore, attention was given to expand the storage facilities island-wide. Meanwhile, officials of the Consumer Affairs Authority had stated that incidence of selling rice above the control price has come down owing to action taken by the government. A decision was also made to expand raids to crack down on the sale of rice at inflated prices. Furthermore, the President subjected the benefits provided to the general public by controlling the price of wheat flour and reducing taxes on essential goods to a review.
In light of the recent government tax relief measures announced to kickstart economic growth in the country, arguments in favour and against have been made by members of the public. We'll bring you that story, but before that, Senior Economic Advisor to the Finance Minister, Ajit Niwad Cabral, says that Sri Lanka has scope to cut rates after the government cut taxes to boost growth. He stated that he feels the central bank will look at it in a way that everything gets and gels together, and also at a stage that there has to be a congruence of all these policies so that the nation gets back on a growth agenda. He further stated that with Sri Lanka having an eye on the growth agenda, it is still keeping an eye on inflation to make sure it does not get out of hand. The last government hiked taxes under a so-called revenue-based fiscal consolidation strategy advocated by the International Monetary Fund, which indicated that keeping deficits down by cutting state spending was somehow inappropriate, allowing to boost state salaries and subsidies. The new administration said that state spending was unproductive and wanted to try and squeeze spending for a time. Cabral even said that current interest rates are too high compared to inflation. Analysts have warned that given past trends, while inflation may be muted immediately after a currency collapse, and the altered price structures in the island will begin to reflect as soon as economic activity picks and demand comes back. Now, in the backdrop of rising vegetable prices due to the inclement weather situation, the government has decided to give the public yet another measure of relief to counter the situation. The Finance Ministry announced today that the import levy on potatoes will be reduced by 25 rupees. This measure is to come into effect from midnight tonight and is expected to drastically affect the retail prices of the staple commodity. Taking you to some business news internationally, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang says that trade teams of both the United States and China are in close contact. Speaking in Beijing today, he said that both sides' economic and trade teams are in close communication about the detailed arrangements for a trade deal signing and other follow-up work. US President Donald Trump said yesterday that he and Chinese President Xi Jinping will have a signing ceremony to sign the first phase of the US-China trade deal agreed to this month. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer said on the 13th of December that representatives from both countries would sign the Phase 1 trade deal agreement in the first week of January. Convener of the National Heritage Protection Convention, Janaka Bohinda Gunathilaka revealed today that a grade 5 English textbook issued during the previous regime has distorted facts pertaining to the country's heritage and sovereignty. Among the distortions highlighted were both the eastern and northern provinces, highlighted as a single province on the 5th page of the book, which alleges is evidence of a conspiracy to force devolution in the provinces.
Convener of the National Heritage Protection Convention, Janaka Bodhinanda Gunatilaka, alleges that the previous government has allowed the illustration of both the eastern and northern provinces as a single entity in grade 5 English textbooks issued to schools.
තුන්වෙනි පිටුවේ ලංකාවේ පළාත් හඳුන්වලා දීලා තියෙනවා. අපි පාසල් යන කාලේ මෙහෙම පළාත් නමේ අපිට හඳුන්වලා දුන්නා පාට 9කින්. මේකේ පළාත් 7ක් පාට 7කින් පැහැදිලිව නම් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ උතුරු නැගෙනහිර පළාත් දෙකම එක පාටකින් පාට කරලා පළාත් දෙක වෙන් කිරීමක් කරලත් නැහැ. උතුරු මැද පළාතේ ළමයෙක් ඉන්නවා ෆුට්බෝලයක් පාගගෙන. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එතකොට මේ වගේ පළාතක දරුවෙක් අභිමානයට පත් වෙන්න ඕනේ ෆුට්බෝලයකින් නෙමෙයි. ක්‍රීඩාවත් අත්‍යවශ්‍ය දෙයක්. හැබැයි අනුරාධපුරේ ඉන්න දරුවෙක් ස්වර්ණමාලී සෑය ඉදිරිපිට හෝ නැත්නම් ලෝවා මහපාය හරි රන්මසු වෙන හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් වටදාගේ හරි ඒ වගේ දෙයකින් තමයි අභිමානයට පත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ආරම්භයේ ඉඳන්ම පෙන්නලා තියෙන්නේ ළමයාට වැරදි චිත්‍රයක්.
He also claimed that the textbook in question paints a wrong picture with regard to the country's national heritage to students.
මේකෙම පස්වෙනි පිටුවේ ආපහු තියෙනවා අපේ රටේ තියෙන වැදගත්කම හඳුන්වලා දීලා තියෙන මේ පළාත්වල සහ මේ ලංකාව ගත්තහම මේ රටේ තියෙනවා ලෝක උරුමයන්. දැන් අනුරාධපුරේ ගත්තොත් ස්වර්ණමාලී සෑය ඇතුළු ශ්‍රීමා බෝධින් වහන්සේ. මධ්‍යම පළාත ගත්තාම දලදා මාලිගාව. පහ ශ්‍රේණියේ දරුවන්ට මේ පොත පෙරලලා බැලුවාම ඔළුවට එන්න ඕන දේවල් මේ රටේ උරුමයේ අභිමානය. ඒ කිසිම දෙයක් මේකේ නැහැ. පොඩි පොඩි මේ බීඇලි කීපයක් දාලා තිනවා. කුංචි වනාන්තරයක් දාලා තිනවා. 45 වෙනි පිටුව ලංකාවේ ෆෙස්ටිවල් කියලා හඳුන්වලා දීලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකේ තියෙනවා මුලින්ම තයි පොංගල් උත්සවය ගැන. ඊට පස්සේ තියෙනවා වෙසක් එක. ඊට පස්සේ දාලා තියෙනවා මේ මුස්ලිම් අයගේ උත්සවය. ඊට පස්සේ ක්‍රිස්තියානි දාලා තියෙනවා. මේ ලංකාවේ 85% විතර සමරනවා සිංහල හින්දු අලුත් අවුරුද්ද. ඒක දාන්න මේගොල්ලන්ට අමතක වෙලා. මේක අමතක වීමක් නෙවෙයි මේ හිතාමතා රටේ තියෙන ප්‍රධානම සංස්කෘතික උරුමය හලලා.
He also stated that this act was conducted based on the need of forces attempting to destroy the country's education system.
මේක අපි ගලපලා ගත්තාම ගලපලා බැලුවාම හයිටි රාජ්‍යය විනාශ කරන්න ඇමරිකාව පාවිච්චි කරපු කුමන්ත්‍රණයම තමයි මේ ආරම්භය. හයිටි රාජ්‍යයේ තියෙන අර ටයිටේනියම් සම්පත කොල්ල කා ගන්න ඕන වුණාම ඇමරිකාව ඒක සුහදව කරගන්න බැරි වුණාම මුලින්ම අත තිබ්බේ ඒ රටේ පාසල් පද්ධතියට. මීට වසර 3කට 4කට කලින් පෙර පාසල් වලට සමරිසි කියලා විකෘති සබ්ජෙක්ට් විෂයක් ඇතුල් කරන්න හැදුවා. සමලිංගිකත්වය ගැන දාලා ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරන්න එපා. ඒක හොඳයි ෂෝක් කියන අදහසක් දෙන්න. හැබැයි ඒක හොයා බලන්න අපි ගියා ජාතික අධ්‍යාපන ආයතනයට. ඉසුරු පායට. ඒ තැන් දෙකෙන් එක තැනකවත් ඒක තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඒව නෙමෙයි ඒගොල්ලෝ නෙමෙයි හදන්නේ. මේ කොල්ලු පිටියේ පැත්තේ තියෙන මාලිගාවක තමයි ඒක කෙටුම්පත් කරගෙන හදාගෙන තිබුණේ. හැබැයි වාසනාවකට පූජනීය මහා සංඝරත්නය සහ ජාතික සංවිධානවල වැඩිහත් වීම නිසා ඒක යට ගියා. ඒක පිටිපස්සේ හිටිය ඔය 1 බිලියන 2 බිලියන 2,21,102.3 කියන අම්මන්ඩි කෙනෙකුත් ඒක පිටිපස්සේ ජයටම හිටියා.
Former Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran's efforts to drive Sri Lanka's lawmakers and the public towards federalism continued with his latest attempt using history as a point of validation. In his weekly statement titled Question for the Week, Vigneswaran said that the Sinhala language came into existence only 1,300 to 1,400 years ago and that prior to it there were no Sinhala language.
Former Northern Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran's efforts to drive Sri Lanka's lawmakers and the public towards federalism continues with his latest attempt using history as a point of validation. In his weekly statement titled Question for the Week, Vigneswaran says that Sinhala language came into existence only 1,300 to 1,400 years ago and that prior to it there were no Sinhala language or Sinhalese as a community. Addressing a question on Mahavansa's historical accuracy, he goes on to say that the Mahavansa, which Sri Lankans regard as the country's greatest chronicle, was in Pali and there was no Sinhalese when Mahavansa was written in the 5th century AD, as Sinhala only came to be in the 6th or 7th century AD. Furthermore, Vigneswaran says that Mahavansa may not be a fabrication, but it is a work of fiction written in Pali for the glorification of Buddhism. The former Chief Minister adds that Tamils and Sinhalese are from the same common origin, urging the Sinhala community to take cognizance of the fact and grant a merger of North and East and include federalism in the constitution. He also calls for a special unit within the North and East for the Tamil-speaking Muslims so Sinhalese, Tamil and Muslim communities can move forward. Elaborating on Elam, Vigneswaran says that there is no need to prove Tamil Elam as it exists even now. He says, quote, Elam is another name for Lanka, Ceylon, Serendip and so on. Since Sri Lanka exists, Elam also exists. Tamil Elam is that part of Sri Lanka which has from pre-Buddhistic times been Tamil-speaking. Elam contains Tamil-speaking Elam and Sinhala-speaking Elam. The Sinhalese masses have been misinformed so far, unquote. On the back of his explanation, Vigneswaran also asserts that all Sinhalese may have been Buddhists, but all Buddhists were certainly not Sinhalese, and that Tamil and Pali helped to form Sinhala language.
Hong Kong continued to protest even on Christmas Eve. We'll bring you details after the short break. US President Donald Trump sees getting rid of his enemies as his biggest achievement. He said so when asked by a reporter whether he would pardon Roger Stone, the Republican political operative and self-described dirty trickster who was recently convicted of impeding investigators and special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. General Michael Flynn is also caught up in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, which arguably wouldn't have happened if the FBI had never falsified documents and omitted crucial information in order to get a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant on Carter Page. On the brink of bankruptcy, Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. Both Stone and Flynn are waiting to be sentenced over lying to Congress, witness tampering, and more.
Roger Stone, are you going to pardon him, sir? He's been convicted of felonies.
Am I going to pardon him? Well, I hadn't thought of it. I think it's very tough what they did to Roger Stone compared to what they do to other people on their side. I think it's very tough. I think it's a very tough situation that they did something like that. I've known Roger over the years. He's a nice guy. A lot of people like him. And he got hit very hard, as did General Flynn and as did a lot of other people. They got hit very, very hard. And now they're finding out it was all a big hoax. They're finding out it was a horrible thing. We were spied on. My campaign was spied on. And again, Roger Stone was not a part of it, the campaign. But he's a good person. And what they did to him is very unfair, in my opinion. And what they did to General Flynn is very unfair, in my opinion. And what they did to so many others is very unfair. And now we found out they're a bunch of dirty cops and paid for by the DNC, paid for by Hillary Clinton in many cases and in much. They did a phony dossier. They used the dossier for FISA. And now, as you know, the FISA court and your top judge is very much involved, and hopefully they're going to do something about it. But these were dirty people, these were bad people, these were evil people, and I hope that someday I'm going to consider it my greatest or one of my greatest achievements, getting rid of them. Because we have no place in our country for people like that.
Well, before we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9, Sri Lankans get the chance to witness a rare solar eclipse tomorrow morning, with Sri Lanka just one of a few countries able to view the entire process.
With Sri Lanka having last observed an annual solar eclipse in 2010, tomorrow's solar eclipse marks a rare opportunity to witness the solar phenomenon, with the next one visible in another 12 years. Meanwhile, Senior Lecturer of Physics Dr. Chandra Jayaratna advised necessary precautions that the general public should adhere to when attempting to view the solar eclipse.
The solar eclipse will begin at around 8:10 a.m. and ends up at 11:25 a.m. roughly, because the time vary from 1 minute to 1 minute from different places. But roughly it is from 8:10 to 11:25 a.m. 3 hours and 15 minutes. The maximum eclipse is around 9:35, 9:36, 9:37, that region. For example, Jaffna people, the maximum eclipse at 9:35, and Sinkamani 9:38, and Colombo 9:30. 9:36 and goal 9:37. The eclipse is visible as an annular eclipse only for the people in the northern part of the country. To view this eclipse, it's advisable not to use the naked eye observations because your eyes get partially or fully burned by looking at the sun with or without eclipse. And now we have provided the eclipse glasses from the Astronomy and Space Science Unit of the University of Colombo, 260 Vidata centers all over the country, and they were trained how to conduct this eclipse viewing camp. So you can go to such a Vidata center in your area and observe it during that period, or you can come to the Colombo University Center. There we even have some telescopes in addition to the eclipse glasses. And we are in Jaffna University, that is the main national camp. We have a web streaming from Colombo University post media, that is through astrosoc.cmb.ac.lk website. You can live streaming can be observed. In addition, those who are in Jaffna can come to the Jaffna University playground. So another way of looking at this eclipse is that using a welding glass. Another way is that you use a piece of paper, cardboard, and have a small pinhole, and turn your back to the sun and hold this pinhole cardboard against the sun, and the sunlight going through that small hole focused on we'll have a small patch on the ground, and that patch will have the eclipse shape. So you can use a mirror to direct it to the wall, or something like that can be done. Even a machine of water is okay. It is very advisable not to use sunglasses, tinted glasses, smoke glasses, and even X-ray films to observe this eclipse, because the UV rays can penetrate through them, and you have to.
Thank you for watching us. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.